stress. It is something that we all deal with on one level or another. And while obviously lifting can help out with stress, I want to talk about some other ways to alleviate stress outside the gym and how crucial that is for us to really lower that stress level. So strap in and get ready for episode 091. Let's go.
I've always been that skinny guy.
Why can't I gain muscle mass?
What do I do in the gym?
They said I'd always be skinny.
This is your complete source for how to gain lean muscle and break out of your skinny body. From nutrition to getting the most out of your workouts and everything in between. We know just how frustrating gaining muscle mass can be, but don't worry, we've got you covered. You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast. Hello, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody and I will be your host today. And before we dive into today's content, I just want to mention, if you have not been over to bonestobone.com, we have a free training for you. bonestobone.com, you'll see it right there on the homepage. You cannot miss it. Click on the free training and it is delivered to your inbox. How easy is that? All right, with that being said, let's dive in. So stress. We all get stressed. We all have some days that are worse than others. We have incidents that pop up. Like, life happens. Life is messy. And I know for me that it doesn't take a lot to stress me out. When it comes to some areas, like there's some things that just, it can happen a little bit and I'm super stressed, and then other things that I'm like, yeah, whatever. So, and we all have those. We all have those trigger points of what, triggers our stress and what puts us under the most stress. But what are ways that we deal with that? And why is it even important to deal with stress? Well, for starters, stress has been proven to be one of the most detrimental things to our health, like across the board. There's so many articles out there on the negative effects of stress. It affects not only our mental state, obviously, but it really does affect us physically. It breaks us down physically. Our physical state is broken down when we are under prolonged periods of stress. And so it's really important when we're trying to build our health and we're trying to build our fitness that we keep those stress levels to a minimum and learn how to deal appropriately with stress. And yes, lifting and working out in the gym, it is a big stress relief. I know I can be having a rough day and things are just going crappy, and I go in the gym, and if I get even if it's not a 110% workout, if I get a good workout in, I feel a lot better once I leave, because there's that rush of endorphins, there's that sense of accomplishment, there's that sense of, regardless of what else, I accomplished this, and that gives me hope that I can accomplish something else. So yes, the gym is a great place to relieve stress, but what are other ways that we can relieve stress? We often don't think about other ways, and it's going to look completely different probably for you than it will for me. But here are some things that I think are really important for all of us to do to help with our stress, to help with our thought process and our mental state. And the first is meditation. And if you've never meditated, it's not some hokey pokey, like, oh my God, what are you talking about thing. It's actually very centering. And what I mean by that is it really allows you to shut your mind off and really think about the present moment. Because I don't know about you, but man, my brain goes crazy and I'm constantly thinking about the future. I'm constantly thinking about the next 30,000 things I have to do and what's going to happen tomorrow and yada, yada. And I can't focus on the present moment. And meditation helps reel me back in. Now, I'm not talking about sitting there going, no, I'm not talking about that kind of meditation. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I can't do that. For me, I've got to have a guided meditation because, again, my mind wanders so much that if I just sit there and try to focus on a thought, it's not going to happen. Instead, I'm going to be thinking about, okay, what am I going to do after this? But what I recommend is download an app. There's a ton of free ones out there. I use Simple Habit. They have a free and paid version, and all of them range between 5 and 8 minutes. And you can kind of pick what you want to have your meditation be on. And it's really helpful because it gives you things to focus on while you meditate that all relate to getting connected with your inner self. And again, I'm not trying to sound hokey here. It literally gets you in a clear state of mind. Like when I'm done meditating, I feel way more ready to take on the day because typically I do it in the morning. But
doing it before bed, it can have the reverse effect where it helps quiet your mind before bed, helps get you ready for sleep, and kind of turn off the 1,000 things that have happened to you throughout the day. So meditation is the first thing that I would highly recommend you start doing if you haven't. The second thing is reading. The benefits of reading are huge. And maybe you say, well, I just don't like reading. I get it. Like, reading's not always the most fun thing, but find a topic that interests you, preferably nonfiction for this. But it doesn't have to be like, if self-development's not your thing, that's fine. Read some history, read some biographies, read, like, if you're interested in woodworking, read a book on woodworking. You know what I mean? Like, don't limit yourself to, it has to be a book on this. And just the act of expanding our mind and learning new things, it helps stir up the creativity in ourselves, helps stir up that inner child almost. When we're children, we don't even think about creating. We imagine, we go build something out of cardboard, we make a leaf pile and it's magically like a fort or a castle or whatever. And we lose that when we get older. And so when we read, it helps stir that stuff up again because we start imagining and we start thinking and we start realizing, hey, I can create this, or this is a possibility, or, look at what happened here in history. And it really just stirs up those creative fluids in our minds. So reading is an amazing thing to do. And if you are just that pressed for time that you can't even read like 10 minutes a day, because I highly recommend like reading before bed or in the morning, one or the two, because those are kind of the two times I feel like we really have to spend time with ourselves, because I feel like the rest of the day is just such a blur. So I know for me, it's either getting up early and having that time, or it's doing it right before bed. And that's just too hard. Get an audiobook. And you don't have to pay for it. Go to your library. Like, every library I know of has an app now where you can just check out audiobooks directly on the app for free. Like, it literally can't get any easier. And put it on while you're driving, while you're commuting, and learn something. Rather than getting pissed off at the guy in front of you who keeps braking every 3 seconds, like, you'll focus on what you're learning, and it will just, again, expand your mind. It'll calm you down while you're in traffic. So there's multiple ways to do this. All right. And lastly, focus on your surrounding, because where we live, our atmosphere in our home, whether you like it or not, it has an effect on you. For instance, and this doesn't apply to everybody, I'm just speaking from personal experience here. I'm a little bit OCD. I am. It drives my wife crazy. Like, I'm the neat freak. Everything has to be in a position. I'm not like crazy to where like I have to come back in the house 30 times when I leave. Nothing like that. But I do like things orderly. And so I spend, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 minutes a day kind of organizing things that have gotten pushed out of place, just because every day when I go to bed, I like things to be in order. And that helps my mindset so much. Like, for example, before, like, just I'm going to give you real honest about my day. Like, right now, dinner's cooking on the stove. The kids are watching a movie. And before I sat down to record this, I kind of went around and tidied up the house. Like, did the dishes in the sink and put some clothes up on the hangers, cleaned up the kids' room a little bit. Like, that freed up my mind to come sit here and talk to this microphone. Because if I didn't do that, I'd be sitting here thinking about all the crap I had to do when I stopped talking. Like, that's how my brain works. And I'm not saying that's how you have to be by any means, but think about your surroundings, because your surroundings do affect you. Maybe having some soundtrack. Like, I love soundtrack music. Don't get me wrong. I love my hard rock when I'm working out, and my wife calls it angry music. But I also love me some soundtrack music, and put some of that on soft in the background. Like, get some of those. I love those. I'm really tapping into some weird stuff here. Those Glade plugins, like the warmers or whatever, those things smell good. Like, I'm sorry, I like those. But you know what I'm saying? Like, make stuff your own. If, your favorite sports team jersey hanging on the wall helps motivate you, then hang it on the freaking wall. If there's certain artwork or whatever it is, like, everybody has their own thing. If it's having some badass wood design on your wall, or like something that you crafted out of wood in your office or wherever you spend time, make your place a place you want to hang out in, a place that you feel rested in and feel like you can relax and really like not add to your stress, because that's important. All right. Well, with that being said, please go on to iTunes, leave us a review, rate us, because that helps reach the podcast out to other people so more people can find it. and get good information. And I would really, really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate if you just took a couple minutes to do that. With that being said, remember, no matter what anybody's told you, what walls you're facing, you can overcome anything. You've got this.